video is just to demonstrate the basic structure of HTML and how that works. So follow along and let's do some coding. So the first thing on a page is always going to be the doc type declaration. And this is kind of how that looks. What that does is tells the browser what version of HTML we're using and how to show our code on a browser window. So that's why we have that. We don't ever want to put anything above that. The next basic structure piece that we have is the HTML tag. What that does is tells the browser, okay, everything after this until I close this tag is going to be in HTML language. So I'm going to go ahead and close it right now. That way I don't forget later. And because I can always go and add in between there. The next thing we want to add is what we call the head section. The head section is a part of our basic structure where we put things about our page. The only thing that you learned in this class is to put the title in there. The title is what shows up on our browser tab. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm just going to label this practice HTML. And then we'll remember to close our title tag. And let's close our head tag as well. Now, if you're wondering what I'm coding in, I'm using a program called Notepad++. It's free to download and it's super fun. So you just have to save your file as an HTML document to view it in a browser. So I've already saved mine as an HTML file. The last part of our basic structure is our body section. And in our body section is where we put all the code that we're going to see visibly on our page. So not in the head section, only in the head section is stuff about our page, like the title doesn't show on our page. But in our body is where we want to put like our heading tag. So we can do like an H1 tag and say, hello world. And then close it because that's the end of marking up that text. And to do a paragraph, you just do a P tag, and then you can type an awesome paragraph in here. Let's see. This is an amazing paragraph. That's not a very good paragraph, but it gives you the idea. What that does is it's going to add a space above and below this text that's in between the open and closing P tag. And the default P tag is going to be size 12 font, not bold, whereas the H1 tag, what it does is bolds and makes the font bigger. So that's what those different tags do. And let's see. Let's take a look at creating an image, because I know that that's a good thing to know how to do. So we do that with the IMG tag, and then we use the source attribute, SRC. Every time we use an attribute, we always type the attribute and then an equal sign, and then in quotes, we put whatever that value is for the attribute. I'll go put a source in there for an image in a minute. The other attribute we want to use with our images is the alt attribute. This is the text that will show up if your page doesn't, or if someone's using a screen reader. So we want the alt to give us a basic description of what the image is. So if I was going to go get an image with kittens, then in my alt attribute, I could say kitten sleeping or whatever it is. So just a brief description. A lot of times people who maybe can't see very well will use a reader that will read that things and say, hey, there's a picture of kitten sleeping on this page, so that they know and they can feel what's happening there. Some of the other attributes you can use with an image is the width attribute, and you can also use a height. Oops. I'll put this down here so you can see it. Notice how all of my tags and all of my attributes are lowercase. That is part of the language. So when we do a height or a width, whatever number we put in here, we need to put px with it for pixels, because that's what we're measuring it in, and the web browser likes to see that. The other thing is if you only put width or height, you don't need to put both. It will automatically adjust and make it look good. Whatever you have, it'll scale it correctly if you put just one of them. So that's basically it. The other thing we can do a list. I gave you an example in the assignment, but let's say we wanted a bulleted list. We could do a UL tag instead of OL. But then we would still use the list item tags to show a list. And then it will show up. And then we just close where we want that bullet to be done. And then after we have our whole list done, let's just add a couple more things here. We want to remember to always close things that need to be closed. Okay, so I'm going to close my unordered list tag. And let's take a look. Let's see what this is looking like right now in the browser. So this is what mine's looking like. It looks like my screen recorder is a little bit out, so I can shrink that a little bit. There. Here's my hello world. I don't have an image here, so notice how my alt attribute shows up because I didn't find an image yet. And here's my list. And so that's pretty fun. I hope that helps, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.